Call a special council meeting to order at Chambers. I guess I better get permanent glasses.
3 p.m.
Can't read the computer. Okay. Is there any agenda additions and I need approval? Councillor Stevens?
I'd like to add to the agenda an update on the regional fire. It's been a year since we've signed this agreement, and I'm a little frustrated that we've let our foot off the gas pedal a bit. We still haven't updated an agreement with our regional partners, the villages and summer villages. And I understand this agreement that we have signed with the town, certain deadlines, and I just want to make sure that they're being met and they're not slipping in the first year of the agreement.
And I guess actually as a special meeting, we can't do additions. It was on the listing, but we can't do additions, but that will be definitely, I think, is something we put under a January meeting. And yeah, so this is specific to this, what we have here, but
Because it's advertised, that's why.
exactly because it's advertised and we didn't get.
Sorry, Justin.
Plus, we don't have full council here. If we had full council here and 2/3 of you voted to add it, it'd be fine, but we don't have full council.
Yeah, definitely a point that needs to be brought up. I just was reading my agenda in front of
I'll
me.
give you a motion to move forward with the agenda in front of us.
Call the question. All in favor? Okay, bylaw 3.1, bylaw 1740-24, election procedures for first, second, and possibly third readings.
Mr. Chairman, I can speak to this one. So this comes back as a result of our discussion at the December 11th council meeting last week. There was a desire particularly to add the requirement for council to, or for a nominee for council to include a criminal record check with their nomination paperwork. That criminal record check is basically just available for inspection by any member of the public at that point, with limited details redacted, mostly just being the address, if that's what council wants to go with. If council does pass this, we will probably do some pretty strong advertising, just because it is a new change. It's newly enabled. Municipalities across the province aren't particularly familiar with it. And in some cases, if you have certain licenses or such as, a prohibited gun license, you may have a very long processing time in your criminal record check. So we want to make sure people are generally aware.
Mr. Chairman, and I think the reason that we had to do this at a special meeting was because it has to be done before the beginning of the year, correct? Well, I will give you first reading on this.
Any questions, concerns? Councilor Jenner?
I'm just kind of wondering, putting myself in, for instance, okay, 5, 10, 15 years ago, being a little bit bad boy. So like, how much do you have that as still exposed to the, being able to have it exposed, say, to out in the public?
I may or may not have some experience in that. So I do not have a criminal record check, but if you've been charged and found not guilty or suspended sentence, it will not show up on your criminal record check. So there again, this is a criminal record check, but it doesn't necessarily exclude you from being a participant, but it'll come back and it'll say there are offenses under the criminal record that this individual has been found. I don't know if it says guilty. I'm not sure how it actually says it. I don't have that problem, so I don't know how it says it.
I'm just kind of wondering, say, like, if you were guilty, then when do you kind of
Unless you get a pardon, it stays on there.
Just a quick clarification through staff. This criminal record check does not preclude you from running. It is strictly a transparency, so the public is aware type thing.
That's correct. And from my understanding of the amendments to the Local Authority Selections Act, it's something that has to be requested to be inspected by the public. It's not something that we would, it looks like that we would generally publish on the website or anything. It would just be available.
I see this as a very much a transparency situation. If someone was charged with fraud or something along that lines, and found guilty, it would be there. And I think that's a huge, I think it's a huge benefit to the county of Stettler ratepayers.
And to the renter, the overall voters, I should say. Councilor Stuber?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good precaution because I believe in one of our major cities, there was a councillor that had run, and after he got elected, there was sort of a major crime that he had committed earlier, if had the public known that beforehand, the outcome may have been different. So on some bigger things, I think that it's important to have that information available.
Yeah, we have
I just wanted to add one clarification as well. We did have two other election-related bylaws that I have proposed to incorporate into this one, mostly just for ease of reference, both for potential nominees as well as myself, so that each election, when we're looking up, what do we need to update, what do we need to change, I'm not looking at, 3 or 4 bylaws which were passed in different election years and missing anything. So we have proposed incorporating the 2 bylaws that existed previously, which is the nomination deposit bylaw, which sets a $100 deposit with the nomination as a requirement, as well as a bylaw which allows special ballots to start being counted before polls close at 7:30.
So for first reading?
Yep.
Call for first reading? That's carried.
Second, please.
Second reading? Questions, concerns? Second reading? Call the question. You have a question?
I just have a comment about it. And yeah, I was kind of against this before, but I get the transparency of it. But I do know when it comes to fingerprinting, because of my condition, that I did have trouble 5 years ago, and it took me over an hour and a half, and I was rolling around on the floor with the help of the officer just to get my fingers to roll around. But now it sounds like everything is digital or electronic, so I won't go through that process should I run again. So just to point that out, it can be a time.
As being somebody that has, for volunteer stuff, I do the fingerprint, and it is amazing now. You just put your hand down, it scans it, and then ships it away. It's much faster instead of having a cleaning off your fingers.
Okay, so we have a motion for second reading. Call the question. All in favor? Council Stuber?
I'll move that we proceed to 3rd reading.
Call the question. All in favor? Council McKay?
I'll move to 3rd reading,
Or third reading. He's moved us to third.
to go to 3rd reading.
Yeah, so you'll move for third reading.
Forward.
Okay, we're,
Whatever.
Yeah.
not whatever, it's third reading.
There
Okay.
you go.
Call the question. All in favor? And that would be carried. Thank you.
I'll give you a motion to adjourn till January 8th.
Call the question. All in favor? And that would be carried.